A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N.
Welcome to the Younglings Podcast.
A service podcast by younglings for younglings.
And anyone else who enjoys Star Wars.
Hey guys, today we are going to be teaching you how to read and write in Aurebesh.
If you don't know what Aurebesh is, it is the way that people in Star Wars write. Aurebesh is really useful because at Galaxy's Edge, everything is written in Aurebesh, except for like the signs to the restrooms. So if you want to be immersed in Batuu, then you're not going to want to be spending your entire time there on your phone using the scanning app to understand. You want to soak in as much as you can, and learning Aurebesh will really help you do that. Also, you'll be able to get a more inside look at what's going on in the movies because they have Aurebesh in there, of course, and comic books have a ton of Aurebesh. I actually made my own Aurebesh curriculum. It's called Aurebesh 1, and you can download it yourself for free in the description down below. We're giving you the basics right now, but that goes a lot more in depth, and you'll hopefully be able to learn and master Aurebesh. There are 26 letters in the English alphabet and 34 in the Aurebesh alphabet, which means that there are 8 special characters.
And those special letters represent blends, like ch, ng, and oo.
Other than the blends, Aurebesh is really easy to learn because everything else is a 1-to-1 ratio. So let's start with A.
So the first letter A is Eric. Kind of looks like a K.
It does look like a K. They rhyme. So that's how you can remember A.
B, Besh. It's kind of funny because the first 2 letters is Arak and Besh, and if you delete the K, it's Aurebesh. As you can see, we have the letter Kresh here, which is actually C. See where I'm going? C.
If you haven't noticed already, the names of the letters actually begin with the letter that it is. So Arak starts with an A, Besh starts with a B, Kresh starts with a C. And the next one, Dorn, is the D. It looks like a 7. E. You can think like Eskimo. It's kind of like a V with an I. It looks like a Roman numeral always to me. Here is
Dorn, also known as F. But the funny thing is, like when you're saying the Aurebesh alphabet, it's like Dorn-esque Forn kind of rhymes. It's like Dorn-esque Forn.
Now we have the Grek. Grek is actually one of the first letters that you may notice has a resemblance to the English letter, because if you rotate the Grek, you will be able to see like a cool kind of font G.
The next letter is H, also known as Herf.
Herf is pretty fun to say too,
because it actually sounds like another Star Wars word, like Nerf Herder.
Or you could say Herf Nerder.
Okay.
Next we have the Isk,
also known as I.
The way you can remember Isk is because the I it looks like an I basically. And the next letter is
Jenth. Jenth is the 10th letter in the Aurebesh alphabet, and it kind of sounds like 10th. Jenth, 10th? Yeah.
That's amazing. Next up we have Krill. But I Krill not teach you this letter because it Krill be too hard for you to learn. Here's a tip on learning Krill. C and K both make the same sound.
And K actually looks like C backwards.
Next up is length. Length looks really similar to an L. Yeah. And that makes it pretty easy. Next up is Mern. So Mern is the M. It doesn't look like an M, so you're really gonna have to work on memorizing the Mern. Don't let the Mern burn you. And if you can learn the Mern, you can learn the Nern. The Nern is pretty simple. If you can see, it looks like an N pretty much, just fancier and more Aurebeshy. But before we get on to the next letter, I gotta ask you something. Do you know what an OSC is? Because that's what our next letter is. It's the OSC. The O, same concept of an O, straight lined O, not the big circle.
Yeah.
But it's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah.
Next up is the peth. And that's the P. Doesn't look like a P unless you use the capital peth and you imagine a line. Next up is the quec, and it's actually pretty easy because all you have to do is imagine a little slanted line right there between that gap and it looks like a Q. Next up is the resh, and you do not want to rush learning the resh. The resh looks like a 7, kind of like the D. This is the senth, also known as the S. It looks nothing like an S. You gotta memorize it.
I could memorize it.
But thankfully, the next one is so easy. It is the trill. And the trill is basically a T upside down.
It trills me that the trill is really easy to learn.
And finally, we've arrived at the us. That line right there on the very left, it is straight on the usk and it is tilted at an angle on the grec. Let's get on to the vev, otherwise V, but you're probably thinking this looks like a Y because it does. But what I try to do in my brain is I erase that line right there, then it's a V. Here we go. It's the wesk. And the wesk is a square. And now we've got into the zesh, also known as the X. And it's actually just a triangle. So here's what I think of it as. Inside of an X, you would have triangles. Just think of it as one of those triangles inside of an X. And now it's time to learn the yurt. Honestly, it's pretty easy if you think of it like this. Remember with the vev, the V, we had to erase the line to turn it into a V. It's the opposite for the yurt because it looks like a V and you have to add the line. Finally, we are arriving at Z, a.k.a. Zarek.
If you watch Star Wars Resistance, it's easier to memorize because there's a character named Jarek.
So just remember Zarek, Jarek, Yeager, and hopefully you will be able to memorize all of the Aurebesh alphabet with ease.
And so now we're moving on to the numbers, which is going to be the fastest part to memorize because there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0.
First, the 0.
0.
And it looks like a 0.
It looks like a 0.
But with a dot in the middle of it. Here's the number 1.
It looks exactly like 1, 2 exactly like 2, except for they have kind of separated lines for every single one that has a curve. Here's 3.
The 4.
Which it's so hard. I just can't memorize this one. It's too much for my mind.
5. Just imagine that one line, and it's the exact same thing.
6, 7, 8,
9. The 9 is kind of different, but the thing is that all the other ones look just like the numbers pretty much. So if
Except
there's
for 9
one you don't know what it is, it's 9. The great thing about the numbers is that they have the same names. Now that we're done with the numbers, we are going to show you all of the other characters like commas and periods and exclamation marks. Next up is the credit sign, also known as the dollar sign. The way that I remember this is because it has 2 lines on it right there, and then the dollar sign also has 2 lines going down on the S. Next we have the period, and the period is 2 dashes, and they're right next to each other. The comma, and the comma looks like a blocky version of a comma. Next is the colon. Just gotta remember what it is for, really. One of those again. Next up is the semicolon, and the semicolon is just a line. That's all it is.
And the next one is the exclamation mark.
Yes. The exclamation mark is these 2 slanted dashes. Next up is the parentheses. And they kind of look like those other square parentheses, but they have those little lines in the center. They're not hard to remember because they look very similar. Then we have the quotation marks, and they look like that. I think that those shouldn't be too much trouble because they're in the air, and what else do you use
For in
the air? I have a question. What does the question mark look like in Aurebesh?
Looks like that.
Oh, not too hard to remember because It has a curve. Just imagine the dot underneath it, and it would look pretty much like a question mark. Next, we have the apostrophe, which looks like a apostrophe. Also, the slash, it's really easy to remember. It looks like a regular slash, but then somebody bent it in the middle.
Like a ding.
So, we've gone through like all the letters, the numbers, and the symbols. But we still have more to share with you because I have a couple quick tips that will help you remember all this stuff that we just said. One of those things is to repeat the letters to yourself over and over and over and over again.
Again, whenever you have the time.
Whenever. Maybe you're in the shower. Or maybe you're trying to fall asleep.
And another way is to do it with a friend.
Yes, call them up, or if you don't have a phone like me, email them. Send them a voice message.
And also you can make flashcards.
Flashcards are especially great if you're learning Aurebesh with a friend because you can test each other and get competitive. And you can also play like hangman in Aurebesh. If you don't have any friends,
you can then watch this video that's about to pop up right now, which is the Aurebesh alphabet song.
It will be your friend. One other thing you can do is to write the alphabet over and over and over and over.
Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it so much.
And also remember that we have our free downloadable Aurebesh 1 curriculum available in the description. I designed it just so that everything that we covered in here is applied in the workbook, and you'll be able to learn Aurebesh thoroughly and you'll be able to write it fluently.
Make sure to share this video with a friend that you think would like to learn Aurebesh. Thanks for watching, and may the force be with you!